not to sound emo or anything, but I think it is kind of hard for some of us to stay positive nowadays, especially with media outlets just throwing every possible negative thing out there, no matter what. And also a huge spread of nihilistic people in society as well. And yeah, I don't know how else to put it other than it's just the reality that we live in. But what I have come to realize is the more you be positive and spread positivity and just be yourself in general, the more happiness will come your way, the more positivity comes your way. And I know it's such a cliche saying, and I myself for years would always be like, nah, I don't have to believe all that. I'll just rot away in my room. I'll keep doing what I like. And then I did what I liked for months and months and months. All I did was get high and watch YouTube videos and occasionally play video games and put off plans all the time. And it was honestly, looking back, a horrible time period. And I realized that a lot of the issues I deal with now are due to my lifestyle that I had those last few years of just being this overall negative person, not caring about my health at all, not caring about how I looked. The only thing I cared about was my outfits, and that was it. That and the fact that I can make people laugh. Whether that was from people pleasing or just basic entry-level comedy stuff too. And I somehow found joy in that. And you know what? If that's your joy and you are actually happy in that, that's totally fine. But what I came to realize is you can't just live being a negative specimen forever. Even if you hate certain groups of people or anything like that, it eventually just becomes this, this cycle of hatred and then self-sabotage and self-hatred, and basically the more you start to act like you don't appreciate yourself, the more your mind will actually believe that and drive you down a deep and deep hole that you might not have even intended to go down in the first place. I am honestly still terrified of what my next few years of my life would have been if I had kept smoking weed and kept drinking every single day like I was. I had nightmares about homelessness and stuff, and I know that's completely unrealistic given my situation, but it is a scary reality that could have happened potentially, but that's what life is about, you know? Life is a bunch of realities that have yet to happen that you have to make the best out of. And if you're just sitting there doing nothing, sitting down and just wasting away on YouTube, doing drugs all day, getting drunk, whatever it is you do, whatever, it's eventually going to come to a point of realization that this was not the life that was meant for you. And this isn't me preaching my sober, it's not me preaching to go sober. That's not what I'm saying at all. Because everyone has what works for them. But if you have a negative habit that is keeping you in a loop and you know about it and you're not doing anything about it, that's just going to influence the negativity and not be good at all. You know, the last few years I have always just been the type of person to road rage, swear every other sentence. So many things that when I look back at childhood Ty was deathly afraid to do. I remember being in the DARE program in 5th grade, and they showed pictures of people's teeth on meth or something like that. And I just remember being so grossed out that I was like, I never want to touch any of this stuff ever. And it eventually got to a point of me discovering it because I was going through such a hard time in my life. But what I failed to realize was the hard time was created by my own actions of consistently becoming friends with people, gaining some knowledge from them, and then dipping after I found out a couple negative things from them, and not forgiving anyone at all. And it was very nihilistic of me. I was not a great person, and I always thought, why do people always leave me, you know? Until I eventually realized that it was something wrong with me. And I still won't deny that I haven't hurt people in the past. I definitely have with my actions. And there are some that I'm still looking to potentially get back with. I'm honestly still on the fence about that because there's just so many things, but I don't want to go into it right now. What I have realized is that being the most positive version of yourself is so much better than just living in your own misery. I told a story on here a couple videos ago about how I went to Walmart and there was a couple wearing Modern Metal hoodies, and we had a really nice conversation in Walmart. I still remember it. We talked about the surface and about its theme around mental health and things like that, and it was a great conversation with two random people I've never met before. And I used to be scared to death to talk to strangers. I'm talking borderline panic attacks every single time I would go out in public, visibly getting shaky and always being like, okay, I have to do this, this, and this before I went into any building ever. And if anything went slightly off track, I would literally freeze and freak out. I was so just living my life in the future. And it was a horrible habit to keep. And that made me realize that I was failing at not being in the present moment and not recognizing what's around me. There's a sticky note on my fridge that just says, "This is life, man." And I know in a couple of years some of this stuff might get cliche for me at some point, but I don't care. Because right now, it has been extremely helpful for me to realize all of these positive quotes that I once thought were just a bunch of, how do I say it? Like just a bunch of therapist quotes, I guess. It's a good way to put it. That's what my anxiety brain thought. Oh, I'm never going to meditate. That's so stupid. Why would you ever do that? Oh, I'm never going to figure out what deep breathing is. What, that would help my anxiety? No, it wouldn't. I have medication. What are you talking about? Yeah. That was my mindset for a while. And I won't even lie, there are still points where I am not the most positive person. I still have road I can't talk. Clearly a theme on this channel. I still have road rage issues. I still, if I die in my Minecraft world, I literally get up and just sit there and I'm like, I take the biggest sigh ever, but then I take like 10 seconds to realize I can literally just start playing again. This doesn't mean I have to quit. I'm being given another chance to start up. And I take that chance. And I think that's part of the joy and positivity, is because you start to realize that, wait a minute, I do have another chance at this. I don't always have to be like this. I don't always have to be negative. Why have I been doing this? You know? And I mean, that's one of the stages of recognizing where you're at in life. I've mentioned him before. There's a YouTuber called Julian himself who I occasionally watch. He does a lot of anxiety and mental health pep talks in front of a bunch of audiences. And there was a video I stumbled across from him recently, which was, I forget exactly what it was titled, but it went over the 8 levels of self-improvement, I guess is how you'd put it. I don't have the list in front of me, so I'm going to try and remember, so excuse me if I get it wrong, but it starts on the bottom with 4 traits that are competitive, and that goes apathy, grief, this might take me a minute to remember. Shoot, I don't remember the other 2, but I'll put all 8 of them on screen. And then the top 4, I know a couple of them are desire, love. I'm still forgetting. I literally just watched this video about 4 days ago, so I'm still trying to get it in my vocabulary, but I've gotten written down in my self-improvement journal. And what I have been doing recently is taking every single aspect of my life and figuring out where it is on that scale. And when I took a look at negativity, I kind of realized that I've been in a perpetual apathetic / grief loop where I'll have a period where I become completely apathetic. It's usually during the winter. And then afterwards, I start to realize, why was I being so negative? That's the grief. But I never moved past that because I just carried out reminiscing on the past rather than taking the action to resolve that. So it's small steps for sure. But nowadays, if I'm in public and I see someone's outfit that I like, I'll compliment them, And while it's not much, it has helped in so many tremendous ways that I never back in the day would have been too anxious to do. I say back in the day, but back in the day is like 4 months ago, something like that. So don't get me wrong, I'm definitely still on a self-improvement journey, and I have no intentions of ever going back to how I was in the past. But one of the main things that kept me spiraling was being negative all the time about everything. Part of that is conditioning, I won't even lie. I'm not blaming my parents at all, but when you grow up with somebody that road rages all the time, or is, consistently yelling at the other one, it's not that great, But the past is the past. I've moved on from it. I realized that we're all human. And, it's just life. There's nothing really more you can do about it. So, I want to leave this off with just giving the notion to spread more positivity. No matter what. Spread positivity. It is going to do you so much good in the end, regardless of if you think it's stupid, regardless of if you think it's dumb. Insert any negative word here, or negative excuse, because that's what they are, they're excuses. There is no justification in being negative. Yep. Okay, bye. And I also just wanted to add in a little side note at the end here. As you can probably tell, this is a different world. I swapped my Bedrock world to Java. I finally got Java working on my computer. My good old $250 Walmart PC. But I think it runs pretty decently, and I honestly prefer Java over Bedrock, I'm not gonna lie. Only reason I kind of played Bedrock was because of how well it ran on the computer, but after tweaking some settings, I finally got Java figured out. But what you may not know is this is actually still the same world that I've been playing in. It's still my forever world. The only issue is when I transported it to Java, all of my Bedrock items and pets and mobs and everything despawned, which it makes sense. I'm not too upset about it. However, the chunks that were built in are still there. So, basically everything from the Bedrock world is still there. I kind of just moved away to some Java chunks, and as you can see, I have so many visions for this area that I'm in right now. And I hope you enjoyed me building this little starter base, but I just have so many cool visions. I'm not even looking at the world right now, but I can still see that giant ravine between the two mountains with the river and just bridges swaying over it and the giant snow mountain up top having a huge castle on it. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for you all to see this world once it's finally built. And I do plan on connecting every single area as well. Going back to my Bedrock chunks. At least making a nether hub of some type. But yeah, that's all. My AC just turned on. Okay, bye!